Everybody, DOYO Live Marketing Show. What is up? Dennis Schiraldi, founder of DOYO Live Digital Marketing Interactive Design Conference. I have a very special guest with me today, Miss Deanna Fusillo, Sassy Girl Media, and a 3-time DOYO Live veteran at this point. Deanna, thanks for dropping by. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on again.
And you got a dog barking in your background. I got a baby crying in my background. So we're going to see how this one goes, right?
Welcome to the world live.
Yeah, besides the technical difficulties, we're through that. And now today we want to talk about social media marketing because of the fact that you were running a 4-hour, that's right, filling 4 hours of content for a deep dive workshop at DOYO Live on August 1st. That's our optional 4-hour deep dive workshops. And then we've got day 2, which is actually the all-day event where you can see our keynote, Alan Gannett, Dariana Lozana, actually doing a featured presentation on social media marketing. She was on last week. You can check that out on our YouTube channel and our new SoundCloud Marketing Minute. That's right. We launched our podcast finally after 2 years. I'm a slow learner. So anyway, and then we will also have Jeff Herman slotted in for a featured presentation as well, lunch, and then we have our breakout sessions. But in any case, Deanna, thank you so much for dropping by today. Really appreciate it. What's going on in your world?
Nothing. Just life is crazy, right? Professionally, right. Extremely crazy. Personally, extremely crazy, as you know. As you can probably relate.
Opposite ends of the spectrum, and not assuming that everybody knows, obviously, you and your business and what we've got going on here. But you've got 2 sons, and one is on his way. One graduated recently, and then, or I'm sorry, a few years ago, and then now you have another one that just finished up his high school baseball career.
Not yet. We're still in. We're the district champions. We're going to regional next week. It is not finished yet. We've got to get the state.
Who's that next game against, by the way?
You know what? I don't know. They played last night. I'm going to guess that it's going to be against Chardon, just because Chardon seems to be.
Did you play Cardinal Mooney?
We did. We beat Mooney in the semifinals, the district semifinals. We beat them. And then we played Niles in the championship game.
I'm going to go here right now. I'm starting this right now, right today. I'm going here. It's good to see the public schools finally step up and play the Catholic schools.
Yeah.
What do they have to fear?
Well, the Catholic schools didn't want any part of us.
What do they have to fear, right?
Right. Right.
I think they're great rivalries because the kids are coming from, I know what the pain point is for the schools in the area, but the kids are coming from all these neighborhoods, Canfield, Boardman, Austintown, right. Poland, and they go to the Catholic schools and they live in the community and they grew up playing sports with those kids. So a lot of times when the Canfields play the Moonies and the Polands play the Moonies, there's neighbors that are playing against each other. And I think it's just a really cool thing from a competition perspective.
You know what? It really is, Dennis. And that's so true because both of my boys, when they played travel. And you get all these kids from, and not just Mahoning, Trumbull, Columbiana, you get them from PA, all over that come together to play baseball, pretty much all their lives. And they go to their high school and they end up playing each other. And it's all in fun. It's competitive, right? But they're out there and they're like talking to each other and, they're all friends. But it's a great game. And Mooney was a great competition.
That's good. And so that opposite end of that spectrum is that my 9-year-old started playing Little League Baseball this year, first time. He went 2 for 3 last night, scored twice. Nice. His team won their first game. Interesting stat. I don't know if you've ever heard this one before, but they won their first Poland game. They're now 3-5 on the year. 4 pitchers pitched for his team. They pitched a no-hitter. They gave up 11 runs in walks.
Hey, you know what? We've seen similar games in high school, so they're few and far between.
Just catch a shortstop for one of those put out. So I'm pretty excited.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we're human. We've got lives, right? And it's Friday. So thank you, everybody. By the way, Audra, thank you for dropping by. We've got a few others. Let us know that you're there. ask questions in the comments because we're going to get into social media conversation with Deanna Fusillo of Sassy Girl Media. So let's start there for the people that don't know Deanna. Tell them about yourself and about your business.
Well, gosh, that's like such a simple question. You kind of threw me off with that because I'm always used to talking about whatever we're going to talk about. So I own Sassy Girl Media. We are a digital marketing agency. We basically, I get that question a lot, is like, what exactly do you do? So we do website design, social media marketing, content strategy, email campaigns, everything that would be on a digital format. And we are in our third year. We just had our ribbon cutting because we moved our location to downtown Youngstown.
Right.
So we just had that last week. Our team is growing. I've added on somebody full time to help out, and we still are like trying to get ahead of all the work and stuff, right?
Right.
So that's kind of a big step when you're a business owner to bring that first person on, right? It's a little bit like, okay, can we do this? Can't we do this? But we definitely can, and it's exciting. It's super exciting. So things are going really great.
Well, congratulations on a big week, by the way. That's very exciting stuff. And so now that you're coming back to do a deep dive workshop on social media strategy, we had talked about, first and foremost, you're going to tackle the big four right now in social media.
I am.
Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter?
Well, the last time I was on, I can't remember who, but there was a guest that said they wanted to hear about Twitter. So we'll definitely do Twitter. But the one thing about every time I do a workshop, it's very casual. It's very laid back. I give a lot of information, but I always start off saying it's not about me. It's about the attendees, right? So
yep.
I'm going to focus a little bit more on Twitter. But if I get a lot of questions in the group about YouTube, we'll definitely jump right in there and go with it.
Sounds good.
There's a lot happening with YouTube.
And then LinkedIn.
And LinkedIn.
That's another. Okay. Yep. And so what can people expect, obviously, when they sign up? Because you do have a considerable amount of people. There's only room for 25 spots in our deep dive workshops. And Deanna is actually, I'm very proud to announce that it will be hosted at the Youngstown Business Incubator. So we have the DOYO Performing Arts Center as the main hub. But to really do Youngstown, we've included now the YBI as one of the breakout where we'll do a workshop, and which will be Deanna's. What can people expect when they sign up for your workshop?
Well, you're going to learn a lot about social media, mainly those four, right? So it's going to be kind of all done in layers. We're going to start with the basics. I mean, even just setting up your profile correctly, which sounds really trivial, but the reality is I'm always blown away at how many people don't have their Facebook or their LinkedIn or Instagram or even Twitter, that profile set up correctly. Yep. And that makes a huge impact on getting found. So we're going to talk about just setting that up. We're also going to talk about different tools, tricks, tips, how to increase your engagement, ideally organically, right? And I know we're going to talk about that a little bit about putting money behind it or not. We try to do as much as we possibly can organically, but we're going to figure out like what's working and what's not. How do we understand what's working, right? So we're going to go a little bit deeper and talk about the analytics and the insights and how to really review what you're doing and learn what works, what doesn't, and then we're going to just keep moving forward. So it's going to be it's 4 hours, right? In 4 hours, there's a lot of information, but it goes quickly. Like I do a lot of the 2-hour workshops, and people are like, 2 hours, like what can you talk about? And normally they go over. So there's just a lot of stuff. So you're going to learn everything about those 4 platforms that help grow your business and drive traffic.
Can people submit? So we've got obviously all the people that have signed up for your workshop already. They can obviously reach out or connect with you through Facebook or DMs and things like that of things that they might want to cover topically.
I would love if they did that because, like I said, these workshops are for them. It's not about me. And I'm always surprised when I start a workshop. I make assumptions that I think that the majority of the people will understand one thing. And when I start talking about it, I realize I've got to put the brakes on and go back and talk about it a little bit more because they're not as familiar with what I'm talking about. So yes, if you guys are coming to my workshop, reach out to me, connect with me, send a message, let me know what it is, what your biggest questions are, or even tag me on the DOYO Live page if you want and ask, what your questions are, and I will be sure to include it in the presentation and get those answered.
And they'll be able to, and so the plan too is that they'll be able to walk out of there with some sort of tangible plan or strategy.
Absolutely.
That they can start.
Absolutely. They're going to learn how to create a strategy, which again, we assume, right, that people that know how to do this, but they really don't. They're just posting to post. And we're definitely going to dig into how to create a strategy. I've got some tools that I'm going to share on how to schedule different posts on different platforms, how to just everything. We're going to go really deep. So yes, they can absolutely walk away with something on a strategy and know how to continue doing it on their own.
That's good stuff. Typically, we start with giving the advice away and then kind of do the ask, but we want to inform people of, what's going on, because we start to get a lot of those questions this time of year about, what exactly are the breakout sessions? What are the workshops? And so we want to be able to, articulate that. You can sign up to come to DOYO Live, which is taking place August 1st and 2nd. Subscribe to our email list at doyolive.com. We have right now to our email list. We've rolled back some pricing, but you can only get that promo code if you sign up for our email list. Thanks, Beth. Appreciate that fine comment.
Oh,
Beth's got a nice.
Thank you, Beth. Love you.
Which is also another appropriate time to not only tease the other. Beth and Jean from TBG Digital will be on next week to talk about their workshop, their 4-hour deep dive workshop on B2B manufacturing at DOYO Live, which we're going to move across the street to the Tyler History Center for their 4-hour deep dive, and then breakouts as well. But they're coming back for their 3rd year as well. So very exciting to have their ongoing support. In any case, if you've got a question for Deanna or myself on social media, today's a really good time to ask that question. We'll throw it up here on the screen, and then not throw up on the screen, but we'll share it on the screen. All right.
Whatever.
All right. So the first thing one of the things I wanted to talk about are, obviously, I think a lot of people in the social media space are thinking in terms of, the only way that I can now get engagement on Facebook is with paying to play, which I definitely agree with. I think it's a tremendous value. We did a meetup about a month ago, and I went through my analysis of Facebook ads and brand ads, and I was just checking this morning. Our cost per mile is just absolutely amazing. We're doing like $4 or $5 per 1,000, and so it's a tremendous value. But with that said, what are some tactical things that you're doing creatively to get engagement on Facebook without having to pay for the engagement?
So there's some different things. In January, right, they announced a lot of different changes, and we all got that announcement saying that we're only going to see things in our feed from friends and family, right? So, of course, like everybody was like, yes, this is awesome. I don't have to see all the stuff I don't want to see, unless you were a business owner. And if you're a business owner, you're like, wait, what does this mean for my business? Okay. But they also said, how they were going to, with their algorithm, right? They were how people would see certain things in their feed. And one of the things that they said was whoever you would comment on their post. So, of course, share, comments are ways that you can engage with a business. But they were looking at comments, and they were looking at positive comments. So, and the length of the comment, because they recognize that most of us are responding and commenting on a post by using our mobile devices. And it's not as easy to do that as it is to do when you're on your desktop or laptop. So if we're taking the time to actually write a response on a post, then it must be something that we're interested in, whether it's a friend, family, or ideally a business. So that some of the things you can do to increase that organic reach is, of course, come up with some content where people will start to comment, right? So when I see posts that people are commenting on, it's reaching more. And the more that I see those comments increase, each post, I'm starting to see it's reaching more and more people. So getting people to comment on what you're posting is really a big deal. So I would definitely do that. Of course, we've talked about, working with micro influencers as well if you don't want to pay, right? If you've got other people to share your content, talk about you, promote you, that's a little bit outside of it, but that's still a totally other different strategy that works, right? And you've been doing that for a long time with DOYO Live. You've got a lot of micro influencers that are always talking about the conference, and it's worked great for you. And now we're just kind of, the rest of us are kind of coming on saying, hey, wait a minute. Dennis Schiraldi's on.
It's hard to be. Yeah, it's always hard to be a little bit early on things. And what's funny about it is that it now has a term, it's called influencer marketing. And at the end of the day, it's just like, I don't know. I'm not big on labels and things like that, but I just knew that giving the people. So you have to go back to the 2007 to 2012 blog strategy for websites, and how social media today, how Content Marketing Institute and all these big sites that have been matured now for a decade were built were by people that were contributors as guest bloggers.
Yeah.
And the premise behind that was it built up that website, but it also built up your website, your industry to get published. And if you just take that same strategy and you look at it for social media, it just works at even more of a micro level because of the fact that you've got a following. And obviously you want to be on the platform because now we've got a following. So it helps to create awareness and attention for your brand. And we appreciate your expertise coming on to that platform as well. Some of the other things that I go back to, you're describing a lot of the why we have to, I guess, work harder because Facebook obviously continually changes the platform. Are you doing anything with stories on Facebook through your page, through your group, or through your personal profile?
Yeah, stories are big, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram. So I definitely would recommend doing stories. And the reason is that you are right there in front of everybody who normally may not see you. You're more discoverable. So stories, doing lives, doing video, right?
But it's so hard to do a story on Instagram, and then I got to do a story on Snapchat, and I got to do a story on Facebook. Do you repurpose any of that content?
Absolutely. I'm not big. I know people are on Snapchat. I'm on Snapchat, right? But the ones that I work with, there's really not a huge need to be on Snapchat, especially when now Instagram has over 200 million users daily, right? And they have all the functionality that Snapchat has, actually a little bit more. And people are leaving Snapchat to go over to Instagram, right? So when you do that story on Instagram, we'll talk about that for a second. It stays up there for 24 hours. You're discoverable, so you're reaching more people. You also have the capability to save it or download it. So now if you want to save or download that, you can repurpose that. You can make it a post on Instagram, or you can do something on Facebook, right? So it just doesn't disappear. And I'm all about repurposing content, right? Because we're all way too busy. And you're reaching different audiences, right? Somebody who may see it on Instagram may not see it if they're only on Facebook.
Well, so Beth asked about budgets for paid advertising. Beth, I'm going to come back to that one in just a minute if you can hang on for just about 5 minutes as Deanna and I meander through a couple more questions about organic engagement. Deanna Fusillo with Sassy and running a deep dive workshop at DOYO Live on August for marketing. We're talking a little bit about Facebook marketing strategy today and some other good stuff. We're going to jump into Instagram here in just a minute. So beyond stories, have you done anything with polling on Facebook from your page?
I have not. Actually, yes, I have. But you know what? I've done it more in groups with the polling than I have on the actual page on Facebook for me personally.
Yeah.
But I do it in my groups. So, and polling again. Pardon me?
And why not on your page?
I don't know. It's a really good question. I just haven't done it yet because I'll do it on Instagram. You know what? And it's I guess it's kind of bad. Like, you're so busy working on everybody else's stuff that my own page and my own, like, I mean, if you follow my pages, like, I try to stay up on it, but my clients are my priority. So it kind of sometimes looks like I don't practice what I preach, but my stuff sadly gets put on the back burner, right? Because I'm trying to get everything else done. But no, on my Facebook, I just really haven't thought about it. I'll do it in my groups because I get, like, that's where I've got my startup circle and I've got my Sassy Girl community. So, like, I'm asking them questions where I'm really looking for true feedback. But the polls are good because you get that engagement there, right? And that engagement, of course, increases your reach. So, yeah, I haven't done it yet, but I will, Dennis. All right.
No, but every Monday we've been running a poll on DOYO Live's Facebook page, and we actually take it over. And so there's posts that you can make on your event that people are seeing much better. And our group, you know, truth be told, is I was asleep on groups, right? So there's no there's holes. I mean, everybody's got a hole in a gap. And like Beth says in her comment that, you know, when you have client needs that pay the bills and then you have your own marketing needs, those client needs oftentimes always should, you know, and will come first.
Absolutely.
But we've been running a poll like every Monday for the past, I think, 2 or 3 weeks, and we're getting really good engagement. And we're just doing really fun stuff on Monday mornings instead of, like, you know, the Monday motivational speech or this or that, like, stuff. We're trying to change it. So, like, we're using, I don't know if you say GIF or GIF, but we're using GIF. And we're saying, like, you know, walking into Monday, and we've got Oprah in one and a baby crying on the other. And you know, like, and people are really responding to that because it's just fun. Like, so many businesses, I find, if you want to win, and it still goes back always on social media, is being authentic and having fun and being real. And I still running into so many people that just want polish, and it's, you know, like, I mean, if you look at the big world, the big picture, like even HubSpot, a company now that is no longer a startup, you know, they're doing a lot of fun things on their Facebook page that necessarily aren't environment, and it's fun. So yeah. My 2 cents.
It definitely is. I just ran on Instagram a story with the poll, right? Laurel or Yanni, have you done a poll yet? And I know, like, some people are like, who cares? But it's the hot thing right now.
I'm not doing that poll because everybody's doing it. So I tend to go the opposite direction.
Yeah, I know, but I still want to know. Like, what do you hear?
I took it because Centers for Hearing Care have come on. Fortunato Figliano is a breakout session leader with Dr. Mike, who's got a question for Instagram as well. And we want to get to that question too. And Centers for Hearing has been added to the sponsorship lineup. So Dr. Cheryl Figliano was on WFMJ actually to talk about, and I don't know what the results were, but I heard this for the first time, and I heard Laurel.
I heard Laurel too.
I know not one person has heard,
but I can't.
All right. So that's you know, you got to work harder. Obviously, it's not a great idea to go out and tag a bunch of people in your post. Find some influencers that are willing to obviously post on with you or take over. Live video and regular video still very, like, almost going on 2 years now, I've been preaching, just develop your live Facebook at least one time per week. Do a show, do something, tell the world about what you do and why you do it. Short form, couple minutes, do a long format show. And there's reasons why that you want to do the long format show. And it's not necessarily because people are going to come hang out with you for an hour. It creates content.
Right.
Right. Can I get an amen? Anyway.
Amen.
Before we move on to Instagram, Beth has another question. How do you help clients set a budget for paid advertising on Facebook?
That's a great question, Beth. And every client is so different, right? I deal from everywhere from startups to small businesses to larger businesses. So the budget, first off, is completely different. What I do for a larger business, their budget is going to be a lot more than the smaller one. So the first thing we have to figure out is where's their budget? Where does it fall, right? And then we kind of look at what the goal is. The next thing is, what is your goal? And we test it for a little bit, right? So we might put in X number of dollars for the one. Maybe we do an A/B testing and run 2 different things to see which one performs a little bit better and split that cost. And then once we come up with the answer, then we just kind of take it from there. So it's not like a rubber stamp, like here's where you should start and this is what you should do. It's really knowing the business, understanding their budget and what their goal is, and just taking it from there.
Good approach. I can appreciate where you're coming from with that. I can get a little bit more specific with that, and it's how much money do you got?
Well, I was trying to be a little bit a little politically correct, right?
A little more discreet. Like how much dough do you really have? No, here's what I've been telling people when I go out and consult with them at this point. I say, like, if you don't have a Facebook strategy or you're just starting one and you're not willing to contribute some sort of budget to it, it makes 0 sense to be able to do it unless you're going to have me help you develop some sort of live or video type of content to go along with that. Right. And so that's a very upfront, frank conversation that I have with people that are currently doing it or considering doing it. And then the second piece of that is that I strongly believe this, like $100 to $500 a month on Facebook can get you a tremendous amount of value, whether it's on lead ads. I ran lead ads for about 10 days for another business that I'm partnered in. We generated 25 leads off $100 spend in just about a 7 to 10 day window. And 2 of those converted into sales, and the ROI on that was tremendous. So I look at that, and then I also look at how much awareness, what's the end goal? Is it awareness? Is it leads? And I've really been big for about the past 60 days on running awareness ads for Facebook, and the reason is that it's giving you more impressions. It's giving you almost the same results as a reach or a web traffic ad. And you could put in the link to learn more or visit a web page based upon that. So I see no reason why to run those different types of ads. Now, I will also tell you that I'm noticing a difference between the amount of impressions being delivered with a static picture and video. But I can tell you right now that I have done one more thing, is that you could take that same amount of money into a budgeted ad, right? So like take $100, build out the ad, and look at the audience of how many people you're going to reach. And then increase that increment to 200, then 300, then 400, then 500 with the same audience. And also use everything's the same in the profile, just increase the number. And it will eventually tap you out based on the state that's available and people that Facebook will actually work with. So you can get the same results for $400 you can get for $500, and you can get the same results a lot of times for $300 as you could for $1,000.
Right. You're right. You were the one who discovered that and shared that with me, and I was that was good stuff. That was definitely good stuff. I didn't catch that, right? You were the one playing around with that and realized it, and then called.
Better to do with my time.
I'm typing in numbers with you. I'm like, really? Oh my gosh, this is awesome.
But you know what? The other thing is too, though, is I do the same thing. Dariana last week brought up a good point. Like we forget and we move on from some of the fundamentals. Is that when we were talking about boosting versus in ads, she still posts content to see how well it gets engaged with organically, and then once it takes off a little bit, she'll actually then put some money behind that as a boost, as long as the audience is already created in the ads manager. Taking 3 different types or 2 different types of ads and putting, if you've got $100 budget, putting $20 or $40 into that, testing to see which one performs better, where you started out, that A/B testing, significantly important as well. So I hope that helps, Beth. Deanna Fusillo, Sassy Girl Media, joining us. She's running a deep dive workshop at DOYO Live on August 1st. And then on August 2nd is our all-day event. Tickets are on sale. 140 of those tickets are already spoken for, and we've sold out each in our first 2 years. So don't wait. We've got some serious specials, though, to our email list. So go over to DOYO Live and subscribe there today. Like my kids say about YouTube, leave a comment, hit the like button, and subscribe. That's the YouTube mantra, I guess. Anyway.
It is.
So let's get into Instagram. By far the platform that's still performing at an amazing rate. You could go on and post something right now and even do it halfway good and still get 50 people to like the post and get people to see the content. But what I really want to talk about is not necessarily the engagement from a feed, which is your feed when you log on and you look at what's going on. First thing in the morning, you wake up and you start scrolling through to see what you missed. But I want to talk about how stories and how you could use stories to build your engagement onto on your feed.
So definitely, and we touched a little bit about this earlier, but would highly recommend using stories. And the reason is to start with, very similar to Facebook, right? Instagram is owned by Facebook. So they have their algorithm. So now we're not seeing everybody that we like or follow in our normal feed. They're selecting and deciding for us who we're going to see and who we're not. By doing a story, you're showing up at the very top of that Instagram page, and everybody can see you. Like, everybody who follows you is able to see you. But beyond that, you're also discoverable, right? So you may end up in that explore section. If you can now use hashtags, right? You can use a hashtag in your story. So if you put a hashtag in your story and somebody is searching that hashtag, your story will show up as well. So you're definitely getting seen more. You can do the polls to increase engagement, things like that. But doing a story, you're actually going to reach a lot more people, and people who don't know about you are able to find you.
Too, right? So when you go to your stories, and if you are not a national business, if you're very regional, and you click that location and you put in Youngstown, Ohio, you're going to notice a major difference. You might get 25 people to view each one of your stories. You'll notice 100 people will see that if you put location in.
That is so true. So true. Yeah. And pay attention. Look to see who's looking at it. Don't just do a story and leave it alone, right? Look to see like how many people are viewing it or who's responding if there is something. You're frozen also, what did you say something?
You know what? Yeah, you know what? I tried to go live. My Wi-Fi, big shout out to AT&T for having a tremendously reliable Wi-Fi. I mean, it's just so powerful. It's amazing. I
guess they won't be a sponsor this year.
You want to talk about first world problems? I've got first world problems. My Wi-Fi, it lags, it streams. Like, my kids come up, everybody's streaming stuff. They're trying to play video games. They're like, "Are you on the internet, Dad? Because our game's lagging." I'm like, "Where did you learn that? You're 7. Where did you learn this word? Like, the game is lagging."
I know.
I'm sorry. The reason why you get to play that game is because what I'm doing on the computer right now. Instagram, as I digress, Instagram stories. So as you get seen more, obviously people interact with you and it has an opportunity to build your followers. But here's the other interesting thing too, is that the more people that engage with that story, the more likelihood your content will show up in their feed as well. Right?
Yes, absolutely.
Now I discovered something very interesting in direct messaging, and Beth might still be on. Beth has TBG Digital, but she has a Hawks Home brand, which is organic soaps, and I'm going to botch some of this, but lip balm and very cool organic products that she makes. And so I was going through Instagram this past week, and I do a lot of direct messaging on Instagram because people see it, and it's not scalable, but it's one by one. Do you do that?
Off and on, not a whole lot, but a little bit.
Okay, so I go through Instagram and I send messages, but not solicitation, but bring value messages like, I enjoy your Instagram feed. Would you want to be on the DOYO Live marketing show? Things of that nature, like then this past week I discovered that in a Instagram direct message you could actually put a web link.
Yeah.
And so I went through and was sending people an opportunity for savings on DOYO Live tickets because I've reached out to them a few times here and there. I've built up that value and not just asking for business on every post. And so I went through and said, look, you want to come to the conference? Here's a huge savings to you. And I put the link in and it populated my website. And I was so stoked about that.
That is pretty cool.
And here's the other funny thing too, is that people say this. People comment all the time about how many followers you have isn't important. And I agree with that to a certain extent, especially when you're obviously saying, I see somebody on Instagram, they have 200,000 followers and they get 5 likes a post. Well, obviously there's a disconnect. But I will tell you what they get to do. They get to, in their stories, they get to drop stories because they have more than 10,000 followers and can say swipe up. And that's a game changer, and I can't wait till I get there.
I was just going to say that same thing. If you've got 10,000 followers or more, then you get that functionality to do that swipe up with the outbound link, bringing them right to your website or wherever, your landing page, wherever you want to take them. But you're able to do that. So yeah, it's definitely a
so
plus.
I mean, it has a very big impact. Obviously, it changes things up. It keeps things fresh. Move those things down into your highlights as well.
Some things, yeah, definitely. I think using highlights is important. Being creative with what you use. And people are getting very creative on how they're designing those highlights. But let's face it, where those highlights fall on your mobile device is perfect. Yep. So the first thing is you want somebody to actually visit your profile. So they're either going to do that by checking out your story and finding out, what you're about and wanting to know more, or your post, right? And the biggest part of the post on Instagram is the image, because most of us will just keep swiping and looking at all the images, but we stop when we see a picture that we really like. So the picture is the most important piece on Instagram. Then once we see that, then we'll stop, take a look at what you actually wrote, and if we're intrigued by it, we visit your page, your profile page. When you get to that profile page, those highlights are right below our bio and right above our feed. So they are a perfect level that we should all be using highlights to talk about something going on in our business or giving tips or tricks or whatever. But yes, I would definitely be using those.
All right, so question from Dr. Mike, who is a breakout session leader, coming back to team up with Fortunato Figliano. Super excited about that. And Dr. Mike asked a question about Instagram. You can see it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there a strategy between an Instagram live session for 2 to 3 minutes versus a series of Instagram 15-second posts? I haven't personally tested that to see the engagement between the two of them, which one would perform better. I'm definitely about the live session a little bit more though, and the reason for that is when you go live, it's notifying everybody that you're going live. You get those pop-ups, so it's instantly creating some sort of engagement where people are logging on to watch. So I'm like all for doing the Instagram lives. The Instagram 50-second posts, of course, they're good, but they can also get lost in the algorithm. Did I answer that question?
I think so.
Did you freeze me again, or okay, there you are. I just got like a blank stare from you, like so I'm like, I don't know if he's frozen or
thinking about. I was just thinking about the question and thinking about. So, my own personal take on this is yes and no and go for it. Like, test it. Try to see what your Instagram live looks like. The one thing that we've really not done and done well is like we have established, the Joe Blitzy Content Marketing Inc. model is to give away value and expertise in the area that you're passionate and knowledgeable about on a consistent basis. And we've done that obviously through Facebook Live for the better part of a year and a half now. And so that we wanted to establish that consistency, and Joe's mantra, which I'm a big follower of, was our keynote in year one, says, don't be too wide, just like kind of try and stay focused with that. And while we utilize Twitter and LinkedIn and Instagram more for the awareness factor and to push out some of our educational content, our real content delivery mechanism is through Facebook Live. So when we do go Instagram live, we've not had as much engagement, but we haven't committed to it either because it takes time. It takes a year to 2 years. The second thing is that I think that if you're using Instagram live versus a 15-second post, it's just a much different strategy. Your Instagram live, you can post it, and obviously you can go back in your stories and watch it. You got 15 seconds to say something and articulating thoughts and sound bites versus like how long do you want to ramble on with whatever you feel like saying and get out what you want to say.
Right.
I don't think that the Instagram platform though for live sets up like it does for what you can do with Facebook and repurpose the content on Facebook. So, we'll take this piece of content right here today. And this always makes people like scratch their head when I say this, but it's actually not that complicated. The most complicated thing is filling up the content. What you do with it after that is actually pretty easy. So we will actually download this out of Facebook today. We'll upload it into YouTube. We will then take that same Facebook post though, and we'll embed it into our website, and we'll transcribe this into a written blog as well. And then we'll share this out through Twitter, through, we'll tease it on Instagram. We'll go back to LinkedIn. We'll share it on Medium. We'll share it on LinkedIn Publisher. We'll put it in our email newsletter. And then the interesting thing I think is interesting, what I did last week is that in launching of our podcast on SoundCloud, and on our YouTube channel, realizing that nobody wants to sit around for an hour and listen to us talk about marketing.
Right.
But they do want to come to our website and peruse through that and skim the transcription notes and highlight those. Is that we've taken this, we've edited into a marketing minute. So we'll tease out a marketing minute out of this today. And we'll upload that into SoundCloud. We'll share that back to YouTube. We can upload that 1-minute marketing video into LinkedIn for anything under 10 minutes on LinkedIn. And people love the 1 minute thing. And if we really wanted to, we have a year's worth, like we're talking and somebody transcribes, you can literally go through, and this is a year's worth of tweets to promote this, actual conversation that we're having now.
Yeah, it really would be, wouldn't it?
It is.
There's a ton of information, even like taking the little quotes or, top 10 or whatever. But yeah, there really is.
Yeah.
And I say that all the time, like repurpose. Oh, my Google, I hit my phone to check something and my Google Assistant popped on. But no, I say, sorry. Can you hear my Google Assistant?
You've got a Google Assistant?
Yes. And I hit my phone to check something and my Google Assistant came on and it was listening to me and answering my questions.
Nice.
Yeah. But no, definitely. When you're doing something, if you're doing a live, definitely repurpose, whatever. Because there's so many ways to do it, right? And I'm all about working smarter, not harder. So, use that information, come up with quotes. You can have you've got content now to talk about, to post about, and share it. So I agree with you completely on that.
All right. So what else we got going on? We've got a meetup coming up we're actually going to move the meetup to its current home, which is that V2 in the Kitchen Post in downtown Youngstown is now serving lunch. So we're going to move our meetup on, I don't have the date. I think it's next week. Anyway.
I don't know. I have to pull it up to see.
Only 8 spots open. Usually our meetups are very inclusive, but I guess we could go over as long as the restaurant can accommodate us, but we're just getting together for a very informal gathering to talk about marketing. And that's what we do at our meetups. It's the Youngstown Digital Marketing Meetup group on meetup.com. We have one scheduled for, did I not publish it? Marketing Meetup. We're going to grab lunch on May 30th at noon. Me plus 3 other people are going, so there's room to jump in on that. New content on SoundCloud. If you're a podcaster, we're just going to go with SoundCloud, the DOYO Live Marketing Minute. That's brought to you by the Centers for Hearing. We have DOYO Live tickets on sale for August 1st and 2nd. You can get a ticket for the all workshops with Deanna Fusillo from Sassy Girl Media. That's a 4-hour deep dive workshop, or with B2B marketing for manufacturing with TBG Digital. And then that's optional, but then day 2, the event only, is where we have our keynotes with Alan Gannett, Diana Lozana, Jeff Herman, and then breakout sessions in the afternoon. That's the actual official event at the DOYO Performing Arts Center. I don't think we have anything else that we got to cover today, except thank you for dropping by. It means everything in the world to us that you like, share, comment, and leave us some feedback, and hope that we see what you have this summer. Anything else that you want to? I'm going to get some music that you can hit the button,
right?
And I'm out.
Right. Well, yes, you definitely need that. Definitely. No, I think that's great. Thank you, Dennis, for having me on the show today. I appreciate it. And thanks everybody.
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
too.
And I think just to tease too, I think I'm on your show, which is when?
Tuesday Talk is Tuesdays at 2:30, and you are going to be on in June. So you'll be coming on. So this will be role reversal now. So I get to be in charge.
I'll start preparing.
Oh, no, there's no preparation, Dennis. I'm going to do the same thing. Dennis, can you go on in 10 minutes?
That's funny. Well, I have to do my hair.
Right.
Listen, everybody have a great weekend. Get out there, enjoy the nice weather. And thank you for dropping by. We'll see you all real soon. Thank you.